All right. So we're on right now, right? I see.
Just more seconds, and I'll get the notification that we're live. We're good.
Okay. So my name is Amaudis Valdez.
I'm here,
Oh,
Good.
but for
what
some reason it keeps jumping on me being muted, so I was unable to speak. I've unmuted myself and I've put the video on, and I don't think I'm able to see me. Oh, there I am.
We see
Okay.
you and hear you.
we can hear you and see.
Yeah, I had to move for some reason. My earbuds were just static,
So,
so I just actually moved to Grand Central to see if I can do something here.
nice.
Sorry, guys. I just started my new job yesterday, and I didn't want to take a meeting there.
Congratulations. What's your new job?
Finance stuff again, executive assistant.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So that's where I am. All right. So basically, what I was asking for is help with the newsletter and all those other things because I've not gotten any signing information. I don't know where we gather information. Where do we gather meetings? I don't have any of that stuff. So I figured since you guys were all together before me, that you might have some insight on what or how I can move around in this. So
Randy, did you do stuff specifically with the newsletter? I don't know who was doing it before.
So
Tanya?
it was Tanya and I remember yeah, I know Tanya, but I know there was somebody else. But from my understanding, Anito receives the one-time password token. So you have to reach out to Anito and then
yeah, okay.
give you the token after he receives it in his text message, and then you'll be able to log in from there.
Okay. Because that's an issue I have. I don't know where I'm supposed to be getting the information for to create a newsletter. I mean, I have created newsletters in the past. I've recently been involved with something with music bands, but I'm like, for us, where and why isn't it just easily turned over to the group?
I certainly don't know anything about that technology, but I would think that we don't have to continue with the same, we haven't established such a clear path. If you can find some better way, um, and
I mean,
I thought
yeah,
you
I
were a
don't even
past
need a better
master.
way. I just need the way.
Well, no, you find your own way. I mean, find something that will work for you.
Right. I just because there's a certain company that you guys use for the newsletter, so I would need those passwords and that information, the rules of what kind of things I could put in. What do we want to see in the newsletters? Because I don't think the newsletter should just be one person's voice. It should be from the group of what should be in there.
Correct. I agree with that. I think you got to have somebody who is going to be an editor of it. And if you want to be the editor or somebody else and collect stuff that Raphael will come in through Raphael. But, um, I think would be useful for us to have a discussion about like what's the purpose of a newsletter? Are we going to do
Exactly.
a print version or not? I would hope not. But then what's the difference between that and just being kind of up to date and having a portion of the website? Um, that's and to
Right.
what extent do we accept, I mean, we're not accepting advertising or any commercial stuff, but uh,
Right. And these are the questions I have. And I don't want to be repeating things that you guys might have already discussed previous to me joining.
no, we didn't discuss anything. Let's assume that you've got a tabula rasa, blank slate. So am I right? I mean, I think, you know,
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think so like I said, it was Patrick and Tanya. So I remember Patrick. So Patrick and Tanya, they both were in charge of the newsletter.
Okay.
So it's what I remembered. Again, like I wasn't involved in it, but through conversations, um, it's through Beehive, right? So that's the account that we use. And once they log in, Anatol receives the passwords, the one time token password, and then he's gonna text it to you, and then you log in that way, and then you'll be able to create the newsletter. In terms of creating the newsletter, like what's the format, what's the structure? I mean, that really depends on you, whatever you want to come up with. But I know that Rafael has been sending information, so it's just pretty much taking whatever the key aspect of those information he receives, because he does receive a lot. Just putting on the newsletter, seeing like what's the most important thing. I guess we can have different themes of the month, maybe. But yeah, it's up to you how you go about it that way.
Right.
But we all receive different information, and it we just forward to you, and either you can handle it or you can send it to somebody else. Like it really depends.
Right. So I think that there should be a format of when things are sent. Like it should be sent in a timely
Schedule.
manner so that could be uploaded. It's just I get things, but it's so sporadic. It's just like, okay, this is going to be an event that's happening tomorrow. I can't put that anywhere.
mhm.
You know what I mean? So I just wanted
Yep.
to be a little more organized, especially since, I feel like it's important for people to be working together and doing things.
I agree. I send things your way as soon as I receive them.
Right.
To me,
And
I
I
want
know you
people-
receive things late or like last minute too. So I understand that. But I just need to know what content we're putting in there. What do we want to show? What do you want to say with our newsletter? And
I
as I was
think
saying
we-
before, it shouldn't just be from one person's voice, because then that's just like
We
Rep-
want
not
to show that
representative.
the community board is doing stuff, and
Exactly.
I don't think it's necessarily prospective, because we're going to have a hard time keeping up and having enough, getting things going and out quickly enough to make that meaningful. I mean, we can if we have like the coat drive, certain things like that, but and our gathering or social
Right.
gathering in the summer. But I think it's very, if we table somewhere, take a few pictures and stuff and show that we've been
Exactly.
out there. If there was a particularly, some of the things that go on in the meetings are, something where we want to hear more from the community or share with them,
Right.
that kind of thing. They can read the minutes, but something that's a little more palatable, let's say. It
Definitely.
doesn't have to be too lengthy.
Right. I mean, because I don't want it to be like Instagram situation. I want it to be a newsletter slash, then we have IG, Instagram, which is also another issue. It's like, who's doing our Instagram? How do we keep it updated? Like, what's the passwords? I don't have any of that stuff.
Well,
Well,
can you start a new account if necessary, like you were mentioning?
Well,
Amara's
yeah,
the
we could definitely do
Beehive.
everything new, but I just felt that I did not want to be the person to dismantle or redo things when you guys are already together for so long. And then also here I come, start changing stuff.
I mean,
So I just need to know what I can do, what I'm allowed to do. What do we want to do?
Yep.
so
Randy's got his hand raised.
who? Oh, go ahead, Randy.
Hey, my name's Randy Plummer. I don't know if I've met everyone, but so my point of view is I think we should look at the next 12 months and we know that there's going to be things that we're going to be doing. Like we know that we're going to have the budget that we need to figure out. Then we so we need to get from Michael, when are we going to start doing the needs assessment? And then to put that on it. So basically we need to do a content calendar. We know that we're going to Dr. Roz, you talked about like, we're going to do a summer like get together. So I
Summer
think,
social.
yeah, summer social. So I think
Yep.
we need to like get that calendar, and Raphael, I think this is where I think you can help us out with is look at when these things are going to happen, and then hopefully we can announce them the month or 2 months beforehand so that we could start to have that. So that to me is sort of like our basic content thing. There's also, we know that in like 9 months, we're going to ask people to apply for the board again. So that's already coming up, right? Um, so I think we need to get a content calendar, and
Absolutely.
then like from my point of view is that it would be awesome that if the different like I tell you what, I don't read all the minutes, so I'm sorry, I'm a bad board member, but I don't read all the subcommittee minutes. I read some of them. But it would be super cool. And I don't know what people's view on AI is, or if we're asking the chairs to summarize what happened into like a TLDR, like give us the 3 sentence of what happened during that meeting. Some of the meetings get really, really long. Like Dr. Roz and I have been on like super, super long transportation meeting subcommittee board. Some of them are really like short. So like to me, having like a short, like, oh, this is what happened, and then here's a link to the meeting minutes, that would be awesome to be able to go do that. And then I think this is where figuring like all of our elected officials have their own, most of them have their own newsletters. So thinking about how do we be selective about like I think it would be good to in the newsletter always have like how to get in contact with the board, how to, like all the contact information of our elected officials, because that always seems to come up. Like, how do I get in contact with, or how do I even know who my elected official is? Because our board, um, like covers multiple elected officials, both in the community or both the council district, but also the state senate and assembly. So I think that is super useful. And then once we get that, thinking about like, do we want to do anything like larger with, you know, custom per month content? So that's my sort of point of view. And I see that's awesome. Awesome about AI summaries.
Okay.
Amazing, Raphael. The amazing Raphael.
Thanks so much.
That's what you had last
So
week.
I don't know where, I don't know if we have a shared Google Doc where we could put all like start putting together the calendar or start like I think a couple months ago I was like, oh, we should co-generate the newsletter, but in the end it was just like the two people doing it, which is fine because I'm also super busy.
Right.
And so just like I think there's some steps we can do so that it doesn't become just on one person, and we get some, like you said, some standards.
I think the idea of getting that calendar, that's brilliant, and
I think
doing it as a Google Doc. And I
that's key right there.
maybe Raphael and I meet almost every week. We've been meeting, and we're going to meet on Friday, and maybe we could begin blocking out from based on what I know of our schedule, and who we need to, like getting Mike to give us the, I mean, certainly that would be one place we should put out the call for the community needs survey and things like that as well. So that makes a whole lot of sense. But I think using a shared Google Doc as a working thing. I mean, didn't we do that? I think we were doing that with the bylaws committee and so on. And I mean, it's like we're supposed to have meetings, but I think working together that, it's not that the Google Doc well, we certainly would control access to commenting on it. Somebody has to be the owner, and we can be reviewers, let's say, and so on. But
Right.
that might be Raphael, or if we get somebody designated as an editor, that would be
Yeah.
a specific responsibility, I think.
So my thing was, as I was racking my brains, I'm like, who else was working on this newsletter? Like, where else did we get information? Like, and this meeting has answered that. Basically, it just came from one person.
No, I can't, I mean, I would send stuff in if I went and did a community board event. Sometimes
good.
I think to do it, sometimes not. But, you know, if we try to consciously consider all of each of us as reporters, but anybody, any event, and some pictures, that's one thing you can do in a newsletter.
Absolutely. I wouldn't
Graphic.
mind pictures or, I mean, if we want, maybe we can designate people in the group to be in charge of certain aspects.
Mhm.
You know, this way everyone's in charge of sending, not everyone, but whoever signs up or says they would do it is in charge of sending things about sports events or something, or just whatever that comes in through the newsletter.
Mhm.
Certain meetings. So, okay, this person attends these meetings, maybe be in charge of sending in quick notes of meeting or a picture from the meeting
Yeah.
or something.
I mean, the summaries of the very brief summaries. I mean, Raphael's been working with AI, and some of them aren't that brief, but you could, I mean, I know you can also tell it to abbreviate this a little bit more, and a
Right.
little bit more, and so on. But I think that would
That'd be
that
great
makes a lot
help.
of sense. I think we should have a Google folder that we use. And then if you have a little article or a thought piece or something that you think is important and so on, you can
Right.
send it up there and then decision can be made whether it belongs in the newsletter per se or not.
Right. Okay,
Hey,
that's helpful.
I had to, so, I mean, you can let us know as well, like, what is it that you need from us? Because at the end of the day, you know, like the way I'm,
But that's what this meeting is.
no, but what I'm saying, the way I'm seeing it now is, you know, I know you said that you don't want it to come from one person, but, you know, if that's not what you want, then, you know, you should reach out to, like, perhaps you can reach out to like the different chairs and ask them to participate. Now, if they don't participate, it's fine too, right? But at the end
Right.
of the day, we still have to move on.
Right. But I just wanted
But-
us to have a structure first before I start
And,
reaching out
and I
to.
would say that structure comes from you because at the end of the day, you know, like what is it that you want to focus on? Like what is it that you want to do? You know, like forget about the past. Like you know, the way that was done, it was done, but like it's now on you. Like what's the structure that you want?
One, I know now that it's on me. I definitely can put it together. I just did LIC Living. I write for that newsletter.
And I read your article, by the way.
Thank you.
I saw
I
it.
did. I
Did
missed
you
it.
like my picture?
I did. I saw it a few
Thank-
weeks ago.
Right. So, I mean, I am involved in this world. I just
Ooh.
don't know what the world was for you guys. And I didn't want to step on anyone's toes and
Yeah.
make anyone feel like I'm pushing them out of responsibilities that they had. I know now that no one else had responsibilities really.
Yeah.
It was centralized in a couple people. I do think having, and this phrase will sound like way more like lofty, but like having some like editorial standards of like what you're going to publish, how, or like how it is and what you're going, like what help you're going to need will help other people plug in. And I do think there's probably a world where like we should be at least aware of open meeting laws and like how we're retaining information. So like
Right.
I don't know if like I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how all that stuff works with the Google Docs, but thinking about like how being just really clear about like I think the newsletter is in a certain sense speaking on behalf of the board. And so like my point of view is that it needs to follow
Board
like the
standards.
bylaws and the standards where it's like nonpartisan, it's non-commercial, things like that. And so that is both like it's really easy to say, but also there's a lot of gray area. And so thinking about like how do you not just put that on your shoulders so that you can also, you know, there's other chairs in the other committees that can help drive content.
Right. Another question is that there are standards and things we can say, things we can't say. is there an area where we can just go and find this information?
Well, things like the, advisories, the letters and the statements that come out, that we see, I find, although we can't speak for the board, we can
No.
point to those kinds of things because those,
Mhm.
so then we stay clear.
Mhm.
And so that's, I think, certainly part of it. What I would propose is that if we do this folder thing, I think it's a working flexible doc. It's not for posterity. And
Mhm.
and then we could at next month even take a look at what kinds of things have come in. Some you may use, some not, but then
Right.
it would allow us to discuss further, right? About, evolve some clear guidelines, not
Right.
beyond just the obvious,
Okay.
non-commercial,
May I ask a question? Were there things that are in the current newsletter that you want to keep in?
Um, of course, there definitely are things that I want to keep in the current newsletter.
Okay.
Well, the current newsletter is like 2 months old.
Yeah, but
That I
still
want,
give you a base. Mhm.
that I want to keep. Number one, I definitely want it that it's accessible. That people
Mhm.
know that it's there, that they can just be like, oh, there's a newsletter, click on it. So that's something that has to be worked out too, because I had no clue we had a newsletter.
They had my wrong address spelled wrong and I didn't get it. We finally discovered why I never got the newsletter.
I think with the newsletter, basically, it's like something that we need to do, but I think that it needs to be cleaned up before we start putting things out that doesn't reflect us and the quality of what we want to put out.
Mhm.
But I will also say too, like, why would people care about it, right? So that's something you need to think about too, because at the end of the day, we don't promote it, people are not gonna know they exist. And I know that Tanya before has been going to different events where she has a table and she's talking about the community board. And I've been to a few of them. I won't say that I've been to all of them, but I've been to a few. And so a lot of people don't even know what the community board is, right? So even when I speak to people, they don't know what the community board is. So why would they
Right.
register?
Well, that's the point. It's that
Not
we
everybody will
need to
register.
have,
They don't know what it is, you know?
if they don't know it exists and you don't know what to do. So it's just, that's what I'm saying is that that's something that we need to work on, that how do we get people to know that there's a newsletter, to read the newsletter, to want to be involved in.
I will also say there are people currently enrolled in the newsletter, so you can't, I wouldn't think about it that way either, right? Because there are people involved.
Well, I think about it that way because I did not know about the newsletter and I was part of the community board.
Yeah, but there are people in the newsletter and they receive the newsletter, right?
I mean,
So
subscribed. That
because
subscribed to it.
not everyone is in it.
Right. So
doesn't
we
mean-
need to have the table, same way there's tables that we go to, then we should have tables where people can subscribe right then and there to the newsletters.
Well,
Absolutely.
that's a good idea. Take a pad or something, an iPad, and let people
Right. And
sign
then
up
have
there.
people
But we
sign.
have to have something they can subscribe to.
Right. And then that's the thing, it's like we want them to subscribe.
Yeah.
But also it's like, for me, when are these events that I can go and sit at a table and I don't have any of these calendar information or.
But that's the thing too, is like there's so many events, which one you're gonna choose, right? So it really comes down to you, which one you have the time to actually participate in, right? So there's a lot of public event. Um, there's a lot more than I am aware of, but like someone has to search it out. Someone has to do it.
Of course, but you're not understanding what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, yes, these things exist, but I need to know what type of events us as a team want to participate in. Like, what do we want to be on our newsletter? I'm sure we don't want everything on there, because then we need for it to be in some kind of an order. We can't have like this month we have this information, but next month we don't. Some things need to be like monthly, we speak about the same subject and have little other things around it. You know what I mean?
What would you suggest then? Like what kind of events would you like to participate in?
I mean,
So I will tell you, like me personally, like I will tell you personally. So me personally, I participate in tech events, and I go to
So
tech
then
meetings.
you should give me the tech information for the newsletter
Well, I mean,
and the ones that you go and sit down at with the tables and discuss with other people.
oh,
You should be writing
Well,
something up and
if
sending
what
it
I'm
to
saying
me.
is, I go to these events because that's something I'm interested in, right? So
Okay.
when I go to these events, sometimes I take pictures. Sometimes I ask them, "Hey, can you send us some information or send me some information?" And I forward it to whoever I need to forward to, right? So that's something I do myself. It's not something written in the book. It's just something I do myself, right? Because I care about it. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, what kind of topics or theme are you looking for so it can help us understand like what is it that you want the structure to be?
I have a thought in regards to that because it was at one point in the past we would get things like it's May Day to be blah, 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 and it wasn't relevant to either our community or our community board. So tomorrow I will be going down to rally at City Hall for, to try to get the super speeders legislation. That is
Right.
not a community board event, and it would go in the newsletter. If there is something well, for instance, there's a proposed street renaming in our community that the transportation committee is going to consider and hopefully a full board. And we might want to put that in for
Right,
a lot of
exactly.
reasons. But I think that's the one rule, big rule that I would want, aside from the nonpartisan and all that, is it has to be relevant to a community board somehow involved.
Exactly.
Now, there are also events that we initiate, and there are events that others are initiate that we participate in. And, like I think we're retabling at that flooding event, for instance, they had at Sunnyside Community Services. I mean, we can decide it's a little trickier when it's events that we're participating or we're invited to participate in. Some of them we don't have much advanced knowledge, but anything that we initiate, that should be definitely part of our calendaring and so on.
Right. Okay, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
everyone, I think we're all on the same page of what's necessary. And I'm also more understanding of what went into creating the calendar in the past. Not the calendar, I'm sorry,
The newsletter.
the newsletter in the past.
Mm.
Now that I know that it's pretty much okay, it's pretty much a blank slate. I know where to go with it. It wasn't that I was trying to say that I'm throwing my hands up in the air and I don't want to be involved because no, that's not what I was saying.
Mm-mm.
What I'm saying is what did you guys speak about prior to me?
I mean, so honestly, like I said, I read your your article, and I mean, like, listen, I like music, I like live music. So maybe we can write about that. Like, there could be some aspect of like what's going on in the neighborhood within the district that people can actually participate in. For example, I know they're gonna have the movies in the park. So I live in Long Island City, right? So they're gonna have movies in the park, and I'm pretty sure there's places everywhere, other places too. There's open street coming up. Like, what kind of events are appearing? So I like dancing, for example. So and again, like I said, I like tech. I participate in these tech events, but if it's not in Long Island City, I don't mention it. So because I go to events that's in Manhattan, but it may not necessarily be relevant to CB2, so therefore I don't mention those things, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think it's like, what is it that we're into, and then make sure that we talk about things that is relevant to
Right.
members of CB2, and that really comes down to the interest that we all have. Like, what is that interest?
I-
At the end of the day, it's
Well,
like fulfill what
what would be helpful is that, as you said, you're into tech and you go to these tech events. Write up something, send it to me so I can add it to the newsletter of an event that you went to.
I'll give you one tomorrow. There is a hackathon happening in Pursuit. And so that's one that we can write
I
about.
think you should write a little thing of what a hackathon means. It sounds
Exactly.
cool, but it's more broad.
Exactly.
There is one thing that concerns me a little bit, and I noticed Randy's got his hand raised, so I should raise
Oh, go
it.
for it, Rods.
Oh, well, the thing that concerns me in the past, like it also concerns me as far as the format of our full board meetings. we get to listen to, people say, well, we're the electeds. Well, we're going to have a shredding event. We're going to have this. We're going to have that. We are not their mouthpiece. And I don't think our newsletter necessarily needs to be their mouthpiece.
Right.
If you want a brief kind of listing, one sentence or something, Sunnyside shines, fine. But unless, so that to me, I would be a little careful about that.
Right.
It has to be involved. So one example in a way of be a good idea, a good way of trying to refine our policies. Queensboro Dance Festival goes all summer long. It's an amazing organization that Carisha is just, single-handedly running, and she's been a very active member of our board. And so in that extent, we are definitely kind of on board with them. But, how we would address that, I'm not quite sure unless we get her to write something. Anyway, Andy.
No, yeah, I agree with you. I think the most of the electeds have their own apparatus and newsletters. So like getting like not recycling those things, but I also agree with you like about like the example of like what's happening inside of our district is useful. My suggestion is I think it's like write that editorial sort of like these are the sections that I want to have or I'm thinking that are consistent, and then maybe there's like sections that could be like special sections. There's I don't know how many members of the community board, but maybe you could interview one of the community board members and be like, hey, meet a community board member and who they are. Not everybody is gonna want to be interviewed, but that could be like an interesting sort of side piece to it. So it's like have the like these are the sections, the editorial, and then maybe Raphael, you could maybe help out with this. Is there an email address that we could either have, or maybe it's like you just send it to the main board of like continue to send the main board email any sort of information that could be shown in the newsletter, knowing that like it is up to us to editorially like include it or not. And then that would also allow like those guidelines could also allow like everybody else in the board to be like, this is what good looks like. I need a title, I need a date, I need a this, it needs to be within X amount of words, stuff like that, so that it makes your job easier and also makes like us writing stuff in easier.
Yeah, I can share it with the board, and if you have a template, if you can just share it with me so that I can forward it to the board members.
It could be a form, right? I mean, that would make sure those items get on.
Yeah. I'll just add, like, I think to me, the bulk of newsletter probably should be just kind of like recurring content that really maps closely to like what is on our calendar that we share publicly. And like maybe those things, like when they're out of sync, maybe that means a change needs to happen to one or the other. So like the idea of like the public needs it's like survey that goes out, like maybe that should be on our calendar and then it also goes in the newsletter. So like I think that's something that we should like maybe be thinking about aligning those two on. And then like yeah, there will be additional like one-off things that are of community interest, but I think those probably shouldn't be like most of any one newsletter or like recurring in the same way.
I agree with you. I think that makes sense.
All right, so we have about 10 minutes. Is there anything else before I jump in with my stuff?
Um,
All right, so in terms of the tech side of things, for the tech committee subcommittee, I just wanted to just let you guys know of a few projects that I'm working on, and I want to get your help and input on other projects. And I would like to assign a few things to some of you guys. And if you feel like you can't do it, please send me an email and let me know personally. But one of the things I'm currently working on is the one LIC neighborhood public tracker. And I am working with the Pratt Center for Community Development. Right now I'm working with the communications manager, which his name is John Ray. And so, we're working together to build a website. And I'm building the web application that I showcased to all of you. I think it was last month or the month before. And we're trying to integrate it together. That's what we're currently trying to do. And what we're trying to do is just have a easy way to update an Excel sheet, and that Excel sheet is going to automatically update the website with the content that has been submitted. So that's something I'm currently working on. Another thing I would like to just propose to you guys, I know I spoke to, excuse me, Warren about this before, which is Pursuit. Pursuit.org is a local nonprofit. And what they do is they help people get into tech. And it's sort of like a boot camp, sort of similar to it, where they train people to go into tech. But the difference is that, it's free up front, but they train you, they place you in a job, and the job minimum is 85K and above. And if they place you, then, they get a percentage out of it afterwards. I used to work in the boot camp before, and that's one of the things I used to hate about it, where a lot of people will come in and I didn't feel like they are ready to come in because they have no experience in tech whatsoever. And for them to, get into loans, paying $30,000 up front, I thought that was insane. So something, when I heard about Pursuit and their structure, to me, that's something that stood out. So I've been working with them, trying to help them out with the hackathons. And I know, Roz, you mentioned, what is a hackathon? But pretty much it's just people getting together and they have a problem to solve, and they're just crunching the keyboard, hacking into the keyboard to come up with some kind of solution as a team. And then they create a presentation to propose that solution to everybody else. Usually there are judges, and then the judge will decide who is the winner based on the criteria that was presented to them.
That sounds like a story in and of itself, and especially as related, this Pursuit thing sounds really quite exciting and community-based, right? It could be the tech committee's project, that it's outreach. It's not just technology internally. I like that very much.
Exactly. And they also told me that part of their project is to go out to the neighborhood and ask businesses and nonprofit if they need any kind of help with technology, and then they will go ahead and propose a solution for them for free, right? So that's something that, they told me that they do. So, based on the interaction that I had so far with them, I really believe this is a really cool nonprofit, and I like what they're doing. And I've been helping them out with the hackathon. And the way I've been helping them out is by bringing in some judges. So I participated in the last hackathon they had. Tomorrow they're going to have another one. And I reached out to some of my partners at HP. So some of my friends from HP, Hewlett Packard, and they're going to come in and they're going to come and be a judge at their event. So they're trying to make it a public event. So right now it's only for their members. So they're trying to make it into a public event. So that's what we're working on together to do. But anyway, so I would like for Warren, if you could help out with that connection. And really what I want is for us to be able to find similar organization that does some kind of similar event, or it doesn't even have to be a hackathon, but it could be, free or low cost tech events, right? And I know that's something that you worked on before. So you have a database of different organizations within District 2. And, so for example, I reached out to Sunnyside, and that's something I didn't know. I wasn't aware that they have classes for their members, right? And the members tend to be elderly individuals. So, so highlighting those kind of events where, they're bringing in the community together and they're helping the community learn something related to technology. It could be the Queens Public Library or, like I said, pursue.org or anything that's similar to that. If you can help out with that. And I know you have the database already, so like any events, like please reach out to any organization, ask them if they have any events, see if they have any kind of calendar, and then we can pass that over to the newsletter to see if we can somehow forward that to other people just to amplify it. All right, so the next project is for Leo in particular. I kind of jumped the rope here last month. I thought you were already a member. I apologize, but I already introduced it, which is the photography competition. So, and again, just a background, I would like to have a photography competition within the district where people can just take random pictures of what they love about their district, what they love about Long Island City, Sunnyside, Woodside, etc. Something that stands out to them, something that just reminds them of home. It could be anything, right? And I would like for you to just run with that competition. So I already created the framework for it. I reached out so we have a partner at Queens Technical High School. We have a teacher there who creates design for us. So I'm waiting for her students to design a brochure for us. And what I would like for you is to just take ownership of it and reach out to different nonprofit, different, organizations, and even different, assembly members, politicians nearby within the district, and ask them to forward it to their constituents, right? So that's what I would like for you to do with that. And also, I'm going to share with you the template that I have, the structure that I have, and you can edit it, change things around, and do whatever you want to do with that. And then for the rest of us, we will see it, and we need to make any edit, we can make those edits.
Are these photos that could be used and put on our web page, for instance, that, to keep refreshing what we already have?
That's the hope. So I have some rules in there, and part of the rules is that we can use those photos for the website.
Yep.
They still own the photos, we're not gonna sell the photos, but the whole point of the competition is for us to be able to just rotate the pictures that we have on the website. So if they enter it, like the whole thing is that they're acknowledging that they're
So
allowing
you
us.
would put on the photo maybe the person's name somewhere discreetly and maybe an email contact or whatever, which allows them to gain a little publicity.
Absolutely. And Roz, I have a job for you, Roz.
No,
I mean, I would like to give people credit, right? So if people took time and effort and energy to do some kind of work, I would like for them to get credit and be recognized. I would like for you and Anatole to write some kind of letter acknowledging their participation and the fact that, they may have been selected to be, placed in the website. If that's something that you can do.
are you thinking actually I think you're thinking of is something we deleted from the website since we didn't have any content, which was the letter, well, from the district manager for other reasons, and the letter from the chair, because none of the chairs has been putting that up. So what you're asking is something
Yeah, I mean,
along those
so
lines, yeah.
I can show you like so this is a certificate, it's just a certificate acknowledging that someone did something. So I was just thinking maybe it could be a letter and then we can have, some kind of seal, I don't know. What I want to know is like what I want to do is for people to feel acknowledged, right? That's really what I want.
So you
Because I know
want us to
sometimes when I
identify people then, so it's not what I was thinking, to identify people that have gone over and above and say, thank you, because you did such and such or whatever.
right. So you help the community and you participate in this competition. We want to recognize that you did that, So some kind of letter related to that. And I think that's something that it's meaningful because we all want to feel acknowledged, especially when we're putting energy into something, right? So I would definitely follow up with you on that. And Ross, Leo, we can work together on that. Just to like anything else that you want to have in addition to whatever I have in that framework, we can work together to edit.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Are there, I could definitely use some like from anyone who has this background, like guidance on just like who are the like kinds of organizations that we've reached out to in the past or like for anything similar to this, like people who might tend to be helpful. Otherwise I can obviously do some looking into things on my own, but if there is anything,
I
that's
got
easy to
some.
work from.
I know
Yeah.
Rafael has some as well, but what I will ask for you to do is just do a little search and then we can meet afterwards as well. And then we can, I can share with you what I have and then we can reach out to Rafael as well and see what else we can add to that as well. But definitely, I definitely would like for you to like just reach out to different people, just introduce yourself and let them know what you're trying to do. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then for that like acknowledgement at the end, that sounds like the kind of thing that could become just like a resolution that we as a committee sign off on potentially.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what it is.
Yeah, and I think Anatol will have to be in there because we can't speak for the board, but so Anatol and your signature, Ross, that's
I
the
don't
other.
count for anything. I just do stuff.
All right, and then the last two things I want to mention is the Sunnyside Shines. So I've been reaching out to Sunnyside Shines, just trying to figure out what kind of events they're hosting. And I know we have a member who's currently enrolled, I believe, or who works for that organization. But
Evelyn Shango, I think.
yeah, and I'm just trying to see like how can we.
That's right.
Yeah, trying to see how we can get involved with that to help out. I'm not too sure, but I don't know if there's an angle there, but like I'm just trying to figure out. All right, so Sunnyside Shine, we have the Long Island City bid. Is there something that we can work with them related to tech? Like what we said before, like we don't want to be their mouthpiece either, but we want to help out in terms of the events that they're doing, especially if it's related to tech. So I'm not too sure on that. So Randy, if I can ask for your help on that one. So Sunnyside Shine and the Boathouse in Long Island City, like, is there anything that we can do between those two organizations?
Newtown Creek Alliance.
Newtown Creek.
Getting that. The Boathouse is interesting. That's really
I'm writing.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a message that they're opening up the one in I think it's Culture Lab. There's a launch there, and they're gonna open up to have an event happening there.
Culture Lab would be another, and these are, yes.
Yeah, so Randy, if you can like just reach out to different, I guess, organizations within the district and see how we can somehow collaborate with them, especially these that we mentioned.
Okay.
And last thing is we have a presenter for the next meeting for the tech portion. And Lisa, I'm asking if we can have the tech portion first so that the presenter can come in, present
Absolutely.
afterwards.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, like we want to make sure we're respectful of his time, so thank you.
Who is this?
His name is Brian Somar. So we had a career day at my school at Queens Technical High School like a few months ago. I don't remember the date, but he was one of the presenters and he works so he's a cybersecurity intelligence. And so he was super excited to like come and present. And so he said that he would like to present about what are common like simple things that you can do to protect yourself against cyber attacks. So that's something that he wants to present.
But he's based in our community and so on?
So he works for the New York State.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I think it's perfectly aligned. Like I was talking to my mother the other day, and yeah, I feel like these things are important. Like having these simple things that you can do just to protect yourself, especially since we all have phones that
I think a lot of the senior centers, there's a tremendous amount of abuse for elders in regard to things like this. So I think you might want to reach out to Sunnyside Community Services and make sure they come. They may be working on this. They may come to this meeting. I would urge that.
Okay. Send to chat. Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for me. Anyone has anything else to add?
I think we still ought to have something even in the newsletter about your program and because this is you're being involved in the committee, but you're bringing in their, your students and others into our orbit. And I think that it's something the community would want to know about that they're probably not aware of. And it certainly might lead to recruitment from, people that are looking, where are they going to go to high school and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was just in Syracuse this week, and I was catching up on my rest. But I was in Syracuse this week. We were competing at this competition called Skills USA. And basically it's a so there's a city portion, there's a state portion, there's a national portion of it. But in the city portion, the students competed against all the high schools in New York City. And then the winners were from that competition. They went on to state, which is the competition I went to last week. And from state, in my school in particular, we came out first place, second place, and third place. So the first place winners from all the schools in New York State, they go on to compete nationally in their respective field. And this is the first time I went there, right? And I think it was a beautiful event. It took a lot of energy and time from me, but I can see how it could benefit the students.
Mm-hmm. Sounds exciting. A lot of competitions there.
Yeah, but they're fun too, like.
What to me is exciting is that it sounds like there are a lot of paths forward to help people get to work their way into real meaningful jobs and community roles. So that's exciting.
And network too. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the most important things that you get from these kind of events. All right, so like I said, that's it for me. I have nothing else to add. So, Lisa, if you want to take it away.
Well, thank you everyone for joining. I don't know how to end these things.
I
Do you need a
move.
motion to
We do-
adjourn or
mo-
something?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
I
Second.
motion to adjourn the meeting, but I just have one question for Amari.
Yes.
Amari, do you still have that magazine? Because I never got a copy of the magazine that I did the photography and the article for.
I don't have it with me because I took it to work, but I can see if it's downstairs in the lobby.
Okay. So wait a minute, your lobby might have copies?
Yeah, they might. That's why I found it in my lobby in the building.
Nice to know. Okay, I will walk over there because I live like a block away from you.
Yeah.
So I'll walk over there. Thank you.
Wow. I want to see this. I mean,
It was my very first publication of a magazine. Actually, no, it's my second, but I had the cover photo, so.
See, I was gonna email you and I forgot about it. I got distracted at work and I completely forgot about it.
It's been that kind of week, I understand. But I've motioned for the adjournment of the meeting, so.
Second.
Motion's been seconded and everybody.
Who's going to second it? Thank you, Ross.
Anybody opposed?
All right. And I'm actually pretty excited of what we can do with this newsletter, so.
I think we got some stuff done. Good. Thank you.
Have a
everyone.
good rest
Thank
of the
you all.
week, guys.
Hey, everyone.